So maybe I'll make a not so bold prediction. Welcome to 954sports.com's YouTube station. Matt Levine, thank you for joining me. I don't think Carlos Beltran lasts another 24 hours as New York Mets manager. Beltran, of course, expected to make his debut as a Major League manager in the 2020 season. A proud career, 21 seasons in the big leagues, about half of that in the American League, the other half in the National League. Played for lots of teams, 7 teams including those New York Mets. Came over to New York in 2005. Had his biggest season in 2006 as he slugged 41 homers, 116 RBIs, batted .275. Best season as a Met in his 7 years. That 2006 season, of course, ended with him looking at a fastball down Broadway in Game 7 of the NLCS, which the Cardinals wrapped up. Big strikeout there of Beltran. And that's kind of how he was always known, I think, as a Met for that moment, instead of 7 pretty good years. A little bit later in his career, he played for New York's other team, the Yankees. By then, a shell of himself in his prime, including those years with the Mets, in 14 and 15. Wrapped it up with the Astros in 17. Batted .231, 14 homer, about 50 RBI. And what's interesting is the Mets, again, hire him as their first-year skipper. And in a week that has been a blockbuster week for big stories with big franchises and indictments stemming from signal stealing with advanced technology, including center field cameras, swiping the opposing team's signals as to what the pitcher's going to throw, relayed that back to the clubhouse, to the video room. They bang on a trash can just outside the dugout. That's the least technical part of it, right? Something from the Bad News Bears. And the player hears what pitch is coming, determined by the bangs on the trash can. You get it. Now, dominoes fell earlier in the week when this guy, Alex Cora, an integral part of that 2017 Astros team as a bench coach, then the skipper for the Red Sox, pictured there, celebrating in 2018, winning the World Series, back-to-back titles. Right-hand man, Houston, main man, Red Sox, involved heavily in the sign-stealing deal for both squads. So Major League Baseball and Commissioner Rob Manfred did a 3-year report. Cora's name was loud and clear and evident in those reports. Meanwhile, in Houston, that was Tuesday, right? That the Red Sox, they wound up parting yesterday ways with Cora. Everything started off with H-Town on Monday. And the Astros firing Jeff Lunau to the left, their general manager. To the right, A.J. Hinch, the Fall Guys. In Houston, they were suspended initially by Major League Baseball. Then hours later, the Astros brass parted ways. So it's been quite a week. The happenings in Houston and Boston, Monday and Tuesday, respectively. Now, suddenly, the New York Mets are thrown in this situation because in that report, Carlos Beltran's name is thrown around for having all kinds of involvement with that 2017 Astros squad. He was a big part of the signal stealing scam. His name surfaced. The Mets hired him. How much did the Mets know about it? How much did Beltran disclose to the Mets? I don't know. All I know is the Mets are in a pickle. Not a good look to have this guy as the face of the franchise going into his managerial debut season, a very talented Mets team that has underachieved, big, high hopes and aspirations, and I'm sure Beltran is a great baseball guy. I liked him as a player. I'm sure he'd make a great manager, but now there's a black cloud surfacing over him that's trickling over the Mets organization. They had no involvement in this signal stealing deal. Mets find themselves now involved because of their new manager. So I think the best way to go for the Mets is the simplest way. Cut ties. That's it. Say sayonara. I thought of this. Mets got rid of Callaway. They're paying him, I think, on the hook for 2 more years. Would they have to pay Beltran? I don't know. You figure there'd be like a morals clause. Well, let's say they had to pay Callaway, Beltran, then they get a new manager, which is a whole different story as to what the Mets would do. They'd wound up being on the hook, paying 3 managers at once. Only the Mets, right? You know, I applauded the Mets as a Yankee fan for doing the right thing. I think Callaway wasn't a great manager for a couple of years. It was time for a change. He brought in some fresh blood, a guy who had produced in New York as a player. Beltran had a great career, not quite a Hall of Famer in my book. 435 RBI, 275 lifetime average, 2,700 hits, 2,725, 300 plus stolen bases. Good career. Again, handled New York well. Young enough to relate to the players. I'm sure he knows plenty about those analytics, right? We know that he knows plenty about video technology and getting the most out of it and cheating and getting an advantage. So again, not a good look for the Mets right now. As a betting man, I'd say Carlos Beltran's days not even. I'd say his shelf life as a Met is down to hours. I think he'll always be remembered as a guy who once donned the uniform as a player and almost as a manager.